I don't think it's wise to do what I'm about to do because I know this gets weaponized against me 8 months down the road when it's in complete shambles. But I have my early, way too early top 25. These are not power ratings. These are, in fact, rankings. Now, the way I choose to do a top 25 at any point is I like to rank the teams based on where I think they would be now. Well, now is February, so we've still got coaches on the move. We've still got rosters being set. There's still some kids in the portal even now. And so, yeah, this is going to move around. It's a very, very, very fluid situation. There is a team, for example, like LSU. I'm not going to start off with LSU. They are not number 25. I'll start off with number 25 in a second. But like taking LSU as an example, I think LSU has the chance to maybe do this little number here. And if you're listening on podcast and you can't see my mannerisms, I think they got a chance to maybe peak late. Maybe stumble out of the gate, still trying to feel their way out, knew everything down there. But then when they hit their stride, they really hit their stride. Well, I wouldn't start LSU as high as number 5 or 6, even if I think they'll eventually ascend to that status, because that's not where I think they would start the season. So I'm going to start LSU, spoiler alert, lower than 5 or 6. Not that much lower. But anyway, you get the gist. Okay, I'm going to go 25 through 21 here, and I'm going to kind of go through the first 10 of these pretty quickly, because we want to get home in time for dinner tonight, and it's February. So we're just having fun with this, guys. Missouri. Actually, I was reading that in reverse order. Washington, I've got it number 25. Listen, I have no clue what the dynamic up there is. I have not talked to Damon Washington, A, in his entire life, but B, especially since he tried to leave and then found out the door was locked. So then he turned around and said, never mind, I'm staying. I don't know. I have no idea what that does to a locker room, but I got him at 25, Louisville at 24, always a safe bet there. It seems like Jeff Brom has those guys kind of floating that range every year anyway. Vanderbilt, I put at number 23. A lot of newness. Is Jared Curtis going to start, Jesse? Do we just think he's going to start as a true freshman? But look, I think they've earned the right there. Then again, what has anyone earned in February? Iowa, 22. Solid bowl game, which matters none in this, but solid bowl game nonetheless. These are just teams that are kind of solid, proven commodities where the floor is no lower than this to me. Missouri at 21, SMU at 20. So I'm buying just a little bit more SMU stock, it seems, in February than the public is. Give me Utah at 19. Houston at number 18. I hinted at this the other night. I'm kind of feeling Houston right now. I got like 8 months to change my mind, but I'm feeling Houston right now. Michigan at 17 and Ole Miss at 16. Big asterisks there, obviously, because none of us know what's going to happen with Trinidad Chambliss. He could literally be working for the show this time next year. He could be quarterbacking Ole Miss. I don't know. I have no idea. If he is there, then we kind of split the difference here, because if they've got him, they're probably higher than 16 on this list. Okay, let me get into the top 15 here. And it's going to shock you to learn that a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but I'm going to put Penn State at number 15 because we are, of course, a Penn State-produced show at this point. I am banking on a couple of things. I'm banking on the ship sort of being righted or at the very least steadied. Obviously, I like the coaching staff they brought in. Obviously, that coaching staff, Matt Campbell and his crew, brought a bunch of the most dependable parts of the Iowa State roster and / past couple of recruiting classes in. And so I'm just counting on consistency and a little bit better roster maybe than they were working with. So a little bit higher floor than they were working with at Iowa State. Now, if you're screaming overrated, that is okay. It's your constitutional right. We talk about it all the time. I didn't put Penn State in the top 5. I put them at number 15. Okay, so you're going to have to just throw in my face, again, remembering it's February, 15 teams definitively deserving of a higher ranking than Penn State to start the year. Can't wait for the comments section to react. Brigham Young at 14. Did you know the last 5 seasons, they have the 8th best winning percentage in the country? And Kalani Sitake sort of flirted with Penn State, ironically, but he's back. Bachmeier's back at quarterback. It's Brigham Young. So again, a proven commodity type team there and still hungry because in the grand scheme of things, in that group over here that hangs out and thinks if you haven't won a conference title or a national title, you haven't won anything. Well, by their definition, Brigham Young hasn't won anything. So they still got all the juice in the world and motivation in the world. I'll put Alabama at 13. Bama and LSU, for different reasons, could end up in the same sort of category for me of teams that you don't know out of the gate. So like you're really hesitant on your ranking, but you kind of like the upside of the team. Like Keelan Russell, I think will win the quarterback battle at Alabama over Austin Mack. And if he doesn't, that just means Austin Mack is really balled out in the spring. So whatever. I think Alabama's got a pretty good situation at quarterback. They really, really, really are putting a premium focus on getting offensive line right. They changed staffers there. They will have several new starters there. They are really, really trying to address the tailback room. So just, that translates to being able to run the ball. And this is quite literally one of those situations where I feel safe saying it can't get worse. Bama made the playoff and won a playoff game last year, and they were terrible running the ball. So I'm kind of going to bank on the fact that over time improves. We'll talk about their schedule later in the show, but I'm going to put Bama at 13. Give me Texas Tech at 12. Top 5 portal team. Got Brendan Sorsby in the portal. I think they just have staying power. That's not a one-year sort of one-hit wonder kind of outfit. So basically we're talking about stability as a program more than a team. And I'll never doubt again their ability to bring in a bunch of guys out of the portal and immediately infuse them into the overall culture, the overall team dynamic, and get the most out of a crew after what they did last year. I will take, this is probably going to be a little controversial. I would like you to give me USC at number 11. Yes, around here, we do take the word faith and the name Lincoln Riley, and we are not scared to put him in the same sentence. And it's not, I have no faith in Lincoln Riley. I've got marginal amounts, maybe even moderate amounts of faith, that Lincoln Riley kind of got it figured out a couple of years ago. But I said at the time, look, you need to fire this guy now, or you need to wait it out, because, he had his sort of big soul-spilling moment where he said, we're changing everything. And we're changing the identity of this program. And he meant it, and it started to work. Defense is massively improved around there. Now, they lost their defensive coordinator to Penn State. I think they backfilled that spot nicely with Gary Patterson. Yes, in case you've been, hanging out with friends, living a life, not paying attention to college football, Gary Patterson is now the defensive coordinator at the University of Southern California, but also it's Lincoln Riley with a third-year quarterback, so I feel good there. Now, they got to backfill, speaking of that word, in the wide receiver room, in the wide receiver department, but I don't really find myself ever worrying about USC's ability to score. But the overall structure of that roster, I think, is improving. Their recruiting class is number 1 in the country. Now, I don't think they've got 15 first-year starters in that class, but I do think overall some of the hope that maybe people like me are blindly holding on to, I finally think we start to not look stupid this year. We may not look smart yet, but not stupid. So give me USC at number 11. Quick 5-second timeout. Check and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It keeps it free. We love you. All right, back to the show. LSU, I'm going to put it number 10. Now, I think LSU's ceiling is way higher than 10 for this year's team. And I think there's a solid chance that halfway through the year, even given my own expectation, I'm planning on looking at LSU saying, yeah, that may be a top 5 team. Look at the coordinator combo we have here. American hero Blake Baker is still there. He didn't take a G5 head coaching job, and he was up for a few of them. He's still the defensive coordinator there. Weiss is in there along with Kiffin, if you want to call that a co-OC situation. But I don't know how many times you had to listen to Kirby Smart during press conference to say, hey, Charlie calls the plays. We all know Charlie calls the plays. Well, both of those coordinators are there. Really good talent roster, number 2 overall portal class, really good upside team. I'll take Oklahoma at number 9. Oklahoma's a playoff program to me, meaning not that they'll make it every year, but they feel kind of like they're hanging out in that club of the ones you would consistently project to be playoff caliber programs, meaning any given year they're going to spit out a playoff caliber team. Mateer's back. They're more experienced. They got to address the run game. Them and Alabama both. It's kind of convenient for each one of them. They met each other in the playoffs last year. Someone had to win. It was Alabama. But I put Oklahoma at 9. I don't have a problem with that. I put A&M at 8. Marcel Reed just has to be better in big games. And there's some people out there who will say, you've seen the best that he's going to be. Others say, well, maybe, maybe not. But might I remind you, his best, if that was what I saw last year, It was good enough to make the playoffs. They made the playoffs. So I'm not calling them the number 1 team in the country, but I'm putting them at number 8 because they've been a top 10, really kind of a top 5 recruiting/portal. So in other words, a top 5 talent acquisition type program. So the minimum baseline of talent roster that it takes to be considered in this sort of air, A&M's got. Georgia's got that too at number 7. Georgia's a really high floor team, meaning even if they aren't their vintage selves, and they haven't been the last 2 years, that's a perfect case study. Their vintage self is like 2021 and they win the national championship and they suffocate everyone. They may not have that caliber of roster right now. Maybe they won't have it anymore, but you're seeing them be sort of quote unquote off that pace, and they've won the SEC 2 years in a row doing that. So Gunnar Stockton is back, and it's just a Kirby Smart team. So I always feel comfortable. In fact, 7's kind of low if you think about what the past few years has been in terms of just this preconceived notion of what Georgia will be any given year. I'd put Miami at number 6. They got Darian Mensah. I think they may have upgraded at the quarterback spot. So I'm not trashing Carson Beck. I just think when you're bringing in a talent like this and you know what you're going to surround him with, Mark Fletcher's back and Malachi Toney's another year older there, the offensive line's replacing a lot. Now, if there's one area on that team that I feel sort of comfortable, not blindly trusting, but closing one eye and trusting, it's knowing Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal down there. It's a high floor position room, I guess is the best way to put that. I like their defensive line. I know they're losing some guys, but I like them okay there. And Corey Heatherman entering his second year as defensive coordinator. So a lot to like there. I would take Oregon at number 5. I kind of think as we got down the stretch of last year, I got the vibe more and more from them. I mean, they hoped to win the national title last year, but they felt like that group was kind of a year away from the best version of itself. Now, that was contingent maybe on Dante Moore coming back. So he's back, and if I could just have that crew largely back, and then I could get better injury luck, like not miss Evan Stewart for an entire year, stuff like that, Oregon's a good team. Oregon was in the semifinals of the playoffs this past year. So they're a very good team, very good program. I'd put them at 5. I'd put Ohio State at 4. Julian Sayin. There's a lot of experience, by the way, at quarterback. You'll notice 1 through 5 here. Jeremiah Smith back. You've got bona fide NFL guys, OC and DC. It's just an extremely high floor program any given year. Ohio State could be higher than 4. I mean, 4 may be kind of low for them. Indiana, I'm not going to say I'm blindly putting Indiana at number 3. But there are large portions of this program / this outfit I'm just blindly willing to trust now. They went and got Josh Hoover, who's probably just going to be like a seamless puzzle piece fit out of the portal at quarterback. They really did a good job of backfilling from the portal at the skill positions. I trust just the overall DNA of the program after the last 2 years and last year specifically. I don't know how anyone could say otherwise. And unless something happens after we do this show, and it's February 1st right now, are they really going to keep this pair of coordinators together? It looks like they are. And so, again, very, very high on Indiana. I'm high on Texas. I'll put Texas at number 2. I saw how Arch Manning finished the year. I saw that they had a okay running back room and just kind of said, nope, we'll see you guys later. We're bringing in better options. And they got Raleek Brown and they got Hollywood Smothers. Go ahead, Jesse. Were you about to say something? Okay. Hollywood Smothers, Raleek Brown. Any order. You can put them in any order you want to. But they also have Cam Coleman and Wingo at wide receiver. Will Muschamp. Yeah, in that category of guys that have landed elsewhere. Hey, man, coaching up the defense there in Austin, Texas now. We got Will Muschamp. He's back on the scene. And the number 1 team in an extremely, egregiously way too early top 25 in the commissioner's poll right now is Notre Dame. Because they have everything that I would want in a number 1 team in early February. And they have C.J. Carr at quarterback. And they have a very, very good roster. And they've got an extremely good staff. Man, they are machine-like in staffing right now. They are snatching guys up that are coordinators in other conferences and just go run the DB room. What? To make this work salary-wise, we need to call you a co-DC? Okay, we'll do that. That's Notre Dame right now. And They've got the hunger. They went to a national title game a couple of years ago, lost. They, according to some, got robbed of a playoff spot this past year. So it's all there. It's like they're still grasping for the belt, so I don't have to worry about hunger or motivation, all that stuff. So I'll put Notre Dame at number 1 right now, which is crazy because I'm told I hate them, but, you know, it is February. They could drop out of the top 10 by August, Jesse. You never know.